Hey, Cricket customers, Max with ads is included with your Cricket $60 unlimited plan at no additional cost.
Nice!
Max is the streaming platform where you can watch Scoob, Meg 2 The Trench, The Nightmare on Elm Street collection, and so much more.
Remember me.
Just log in with your Cricket username and password to experience Max on all your favorite devices.
We've never seen this before.
Max, the one to watch for a good scream with Cricket. Yeah! Phone plan streams in standard definition. Programming subject to change. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
When you download the Baker's app, you have easy access to savings every day. Get the most out of weekly sales and receive personalized coupons to save on your favorite items, all while earning 1 fuel point for every $1 spent. Baker's makes it easy to save while you shop, whether it's in-store or online, so you get the most value out of every trip, every time. Download the Baker's app now to save big on your next purchase. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Must have a digital account to redeem offers. Restrictions may apply. See site for details.
Your favorite band's about to play a sold-out show. You got in.
Over here!
With a friend. And found a spot close enough to see the set list. They're definitely playing your song. When you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.
Hey, it's Christine from Storyworthy. Today on the show, the very talented Debra DiGiovanni talks about a family of raccoons who moved into her apartment.
It's the summer, it's beautiful, but I'm basically, I'm lame the entire time, so I don't get to use the roof deck. So this is the first time, right? I don't get to use it. So I was just like, that was going to be the highlight of the whatever. But because I didn't get to use it, I'm surrounded by trees. A family of raccoons took over. And I just opened the door, and it was covered with raccoons. Some of them were like sunning themselves on my picnic table. There was one lying on top of the barbecue. Like they had made themselves at home. Like they looked at me like, did you bring snacks? Like they couldn't believe that I was bothering their wonderful vacation spot.
Today on the show, comedian Debra DiGiovanni talks about her most troublesome apartment. Stay close.
Hey, my name is Debra DiGiovanni, and you're listening to Storyworthy.
Welcome to Storyworthy. My name is Christine Blackburn, and I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Whether you're a longtime fan of the show of over 11 years or you're a new listener, welcome to Storyworthy. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the story last week with author Erica Schickel. This girl, boy, I'll tell you what. I read her new book called The Big Hurt. I read it about a month ago, but we weren't recording for in another 4 weeks because we're trying to line it up with when the book comes out, etc. And I wanted to talk to her so bad because her book, like I said, The Big Hurt, is just really good. It's a memoir, and it's just extremely powerful, and I think it hit me in a specific way. It's about making, the same mistakes over and over again, and it's about, men. Anyway, go back, you guys. Listen to Erica Schickel. She's brilliant. Her book is brilliant. And I was really lucky to have her on the show. But not today, you guys. Don't go anywhere because I'm here finally with somebody who I've been dying to get on the show, Debra DiGiovanni. I met you, Debra, I think it was at the Improv.
Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and I've seen you perform several times. And you're so... you're one of those comedians that you just take control of the stage and you have such a wonderful presence and people like you immediately.
That's nice.
It's true. And you've got a beautiful smile and your laugh. So you laugh at yourself. You laugh at,
just being on stage, just joy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. It really rings authentic and you make everything very accessible.
Good. That's nice.
It's true. It's totally true. And I think we have a few things in common, and that would be that we're both from large families.
Yeah. Oh, are you too?
I'm the youngest of 6.
Okay.
And you're
I'm 4 of 5.
Of 5.
Yeah.
Right. So when I listened to you on other podcasts, I was laughing at, some of the stories about, the kids in the car and in the 70s and the station wagons.
Yes, the station wagon always facing the back.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah.
Because I was the youngest. Well, you two.
That was it. The two youngest were in the back.
You had to face the rear. It was so bizarre.
Yeah. Watch cars driving at you. I mean,
yeah,
it's just,
waving, being goofy. And one of the differences between us is that you grew up in Canada.
Yeah.
And I grew up here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we took our yearly summer drive, we would go down the shore, which is New Jersey. And your family would take you guys, put you all in the wagon to take you across Canada.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
What the hell?
I know. What did I know?
And there was no air conditioning.
Because that's the thing is with a big family, right? Like, there was never flying. It was always driving. That's not... Yeah. Flying is for families of 4.
Of course.
Just not,
we also didn't ski. There was no skiing.
No.
There was no water skiing either.
No
there was
way. No.
Nothing fancy.
Nothing that required equiment.
No,
Yes.
of course not. We had a ball.
Yeah. I was going to say frisbee.
That's funny. So, what kind of car did they have growing up?
It was a big old station wagon, a Cutlass Sierra or whatever it was.
Oh yeah,
we had the classic. Like if you've never seen a station wagon, Google it and that will come up. With the wood paneling on the side.
That's the one we had. I think it was called the Cutlass Supreme.
Ooh.
And that is so funny. And that big ass door in the back.
So classic. Yeah. So classic.
And then my family had to put a box on the roof to hold the luggage because you couldn't. You couldn't.
Same thing. My mother used to call it the Big Mac. Do you know what I mean?
That's funny.
Right? To put all the stuff?
No, we did too. We called it the hamburger, actually.
Yeah, it had to. It's like, because that's what it is. It looked like a takeout, a classic hamburger box.
That's really funny.
Because that was it too. Like when we were all in the car, there was no space. You had to pop up the back seat.
Right.
There was no space for storage.
None.
So yeah, it had to go upstairs.
And a lot of times there were 3 people in the front seat.
Yes.
Because it was all bench seats.
I guess for you there would be, yeah. Because you've got 1 extra 8, yeah. Oh my God.
Bench seats, yeah.
People can't understand what a big family. I mean, if you've never experienced it, it's like and people don't do it that much anymore unless you're,
No, because you can't care for them properly.
yeah, it's too much. But you also have to be a billionaire to have more than 3 children now. Yeah.
Yeah, but also even if you had all the money in the world, somebody's gonna not get parented all the way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like. They're going to drop the ball at some point because they're not going to.
At some point.
They're
tired.
They're tired. And also,
tired.
They figure that you heard it from your other siblings.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're hoping.
Like, what I heard from the birds and the bees was from my older sister, Karen, and she told me that a boy puts his hot dog in your bum.
Oh, God.
So that's what I got.
Oh, my God. My sister told me that pads went under your armpits. I was just like, really? Are you sure? And that's what she thought. That's what she told us.
One time, my brother, one of his jobs, growing up, because he was the only boy and 5 girls, he had to burn the trash. We had a burning barrel. You just burn the trash in this big steel can in the backyard. And he would take my sister and I down to watch him burn the trash, and then he'd unwrap my older sister's sanitary pads that were bloody, and he'd say, "This is going to happen to you."
Oh God! Oh my God! That's the way they torture.
I know, that was my sexual, education right there.
That's how they do it. Oh my God! See, we were also too. We were 4 girls and 1 boy as well. Which again is a whole other thing.
Do you have nieces and nephews?
I do. I've got 5, 3, 2. Yeah, so I've got 10 in total.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. At first, it's so fun, right, to have a little baby around, and then another one. We're the same way. After the 4th or 5th niece and nephew, I'm sorry, we're dropping off.
I'm sorry. Remembering birthdays.
Oh
my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
As if that's happening. I'm sorry.
Are they
I always
in
feel
Canada?
so bad, but I'm just like, everyone's in Canada. They're all sort of in the same area now, too. Everyone's East Coast. They're all in Ontario. So it's sort of like around Ontario.
What was your period that you didn't see anybody during the pandemic?
Well, I haven't seen my father in 2 years.
Oh,
for
my
sure.
God, still?
Yeah, for sure. No, I haven't seen my entire family in 2 years.
Oh my gosh! Do you want to go back soon?
At the beginning of 2019, I was on tour, and then there was going to be a stint. Like I was supposed to be in Canada for April of 2020, And then that, of course, canceled. So it was probably like since September 2019, I haven't seen my family.
Are you planning to go? What's the plan?
I mean, we're still trying. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's still, even though everyone's vaccinated and whatever, it's still, my father's 86. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, we're all just trying to be as careful as possible. One of my sisters has has a compromised immune system. So it's just like, you know what I mean? We're all being as safe and as cautious as possible. So hopefully Christmas is what the goal is.
That would be really nice, but it's a mature and safe decision. Believe me, that's not a bad choice at all. I was in Nashville last week, and it's like, it's like the deep South, man. And I thought to myself, I'm not going out of town for a while.
I know. And I'm okay with it. I really am. It's like I see everyone in their busy schedules, and I'm like, God bless you, but I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people would tease me, but I just don't care. I'd rather be cautious. I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
I really
I don't think people should be making any medical choices for anybody anyway. You know what I mean?
No, God, no. Do what you want. Do what you need to do.
It's very personal.
I mean, don't do anything to harm others. But, whatever makes you feel comfortable.
I agree. All right. So today, Deborah, you bring forth the topic, my most troublesome apartment. And I'm anxious to hear your story. I have also had a lot of apartments in my life, and I've dwelled in many places. Like, if I were to, think about them before I go to sleep, I would fall asleep before I could.
Oh yeah, you would be like counting sheep.
Yeah.
It's like counting sheep.
Also, I really want to get to your story, and I'm excited to hear about it. But when you talk about apartments in general, there's nothing wrong with renting your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
It's so hard for people sometimes where I'm from to get their head around that, because they think all there is getting a house. I mean, that's really number one. Even probably before marriage, everybody, they think they have to buy a house. And I don't think they realize that, unless you've got a lot of cash, you're still going to be paying something, whether you're paying the mortgage or the landlord. You're not really...
You're paying something.
You're not living for free.
Absolutely. See, my father was always like, about buying. He was like, but the money's going back to you. Rent is like burning money. And I was like, but it's not, though, because I'm alive and I'm living. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's not, Dad. It serves a purpose.
I know.
And that's a very different generation, though. That sort of like, you're crazy if you're not buying.
But it exists now, that generation, because people still don't get their head around how people live in New York and LA and San Francisco.
But
I have totally, I do want a house. I do want, a garage and some space. But at the same time, I'm resigned to, I'll probably rent that house. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm the same. Absolutely, totally the same. And there is something about being a renter that when something goes wrong, you just call and send someone over. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's like, it's not trying to find someone reputable and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just do this and it's done.
And it can also...
There is something about that.
There's a freedom to being able to, maybe move or choose a different place, or I don't know. I don't know, but I definitely my first thing is location.
Yes.
So I'm going to choose to live in this apartment any day over the mansion where I'm from.
Oh God,
because
where you can afford something.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? That's the thing.
When I think about moving back to Pittsburgh, like that size house, like let's say a 3,000 square foot house, which is pretty regular. I think of the heating and the cooling.
Oh, I know. And the water and everything. It's like, yikes.
Yeah, and then I also think about safety. Like, oh my gosh, okay, if I have an acre of land or even a half acre and I scream, who's going to hear me?
Who's going to hear that? How long? Yeah, I was going to say, how far does that reach?
I know. And if I scream in this apartment, I got like at least 80 people are going to say.
Complaining.
Yeah, complaining.
Keep it
Fair
down.
enough. But if I'm yelling fire, maybe they'll respond,
Seriously. I was going to say, there is safety. There really is safety in an apartment.
Yeah. When I go back east and I stay with my sister, whoever I might stay with, I do think about, oh my God, like I'm my own bathroom, my own bedroom, which is fine. But I'm like upstairs in the corner. I don't even know where anybody is. Like, it can feel lonely in this private place more than you'd think. And in my mother's neighborhood and my sister's suburban neighborhood, everybody's chatting about each other and the neighbors and when their cars are coming in.
So much drama.
They know everything
Everyone
going
knows
on.
each other. Everyone knows what everyone is doing at all times.
Yeah.
It's like Instagram come to life.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's so funny. And like in LA, I don't know anybody. I mean, I do, but you know what I mean?
But
like,
you don't, because there's no sense of neighborhoods. There's no sense of community here. So you're the anonymity too is kind of nice as well. Do you know, there is and there isn't, but it's like, again, in an apartment building, it's like you're anonymous, but you're close enough that if something happens, you're
it's
not
funny.
alone.
My
really
daughter has a couple friends who would rather. They say maybe they're jagging me, but they say that they would rather live where my daughter lives and I live in this apartment complex because it's more like fun because they can go outside and run around, and their houses are again their own little islands and nobody's passing by. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I was going to say, if you don't have next door neighbors, then what?
Yeah. I have such a fear of being totally alone, and that could be from a big family.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
I do. I'm not. I don't ever want to be somewhere rural. Like I am always. Like my brain has always been like urban all the time. City. Always want to have a city. Always.
I know.
Yet never ever had that desire to be like, a little place in the middle of nowhere. That does not appeal to me at all.
No, it seems so. It seems so. I don't know, antiquated to want to live.
I think it's scary,
there.
lonely, weird. It just doesn't. It doesn't do it for me.
Neither. Anyway, so I'm excited to hear your story about my most troublesome apartment. But before we do, I want to tell everybody that we are finally back at the Hollywood Improv on August 28th at 7:30 p.m. And Debra, do you remember what happened when you were booked to do the show and what happened that day?
No.
You were booked to do Story Smash. And, as a producer and as a comic, the weight put on, that it's important that you show up, et cetera, because the producer, that's what, and you want to get asked back, you need to kind of do what you said you would do.
Yeah, you're messing someone up.
So now it's Saturday afternoon and you have to cancel, remember? And you sent me a picture of you with your hospital band on because you were in Cedars.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was like, Debra, I would have believed you.
Was that my rib thing? That was my rib. Oh, God, yeah. You know what okay, yeah, that's a whole other story.
No, but I remember something fell on you or something.
Yes, yeah. No, it was, I had fallen and what had happened is that like I'd fallen and like smacked myself in a way that the thing in your like solar plexus area that keeps your ribs, it's not attached, but they're sort of like leaning on each other. It moved, and one of the front of, I know that. And like one of the little ribs was kind of like ding, ding, ding. And every time I took a breath, it was like, it felt like it was going to puncture. And
so
it was
sticking out.
Yes, pretty much. And then I had gone for like a walk. It was like, I can't draw a breath. And then, I thought I was having a heart attack. I mean, honestly. And then,
because it was a stabbing pain.
Yes,
obviously.
yeah. And, they always say, anything like that, chest pain is like, immediately go. And then, God bless, I think I had two friends come with me. And then after 6 hours of whatever, they were like, you're not going to believe it, but this is what happened. And it was really just one of those things where, like, I had to do a little, like, physio for it, but it was really just like, there are things that you really can't. Ribs, toes, they can't. You know what I mean? They can bind you.
Bind them.
But they can't do, they can't put a cast on you. You know what I mean? So it was just like, anyway.
So then eventually that rib goes back into place.
Yeah, it did. And it did, but it was sort of like I had to be down and it couldn't be like, because you couldn't get to a point where you were that kind of breathing because it would dislodge it again. Oh God, yeah.
That is terrifying. Did you see it on an X-ray? Like it's sticking out. Oh,
but I must tell you, Cedars-Sinai, that was my first foray into Cedars-Sinai, and they were a delight. I have to tell you, they were really a delight. I remember, I think every doctor was handsome and stuff, which is always a bonus, which is not going to ever hurt. You know what I mean?
Well, that's interesting.
That's not terrible, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it depends. I had my daughter at Cedars, and, they have at some point, sometimes Cedars has 30 babies a day.
Ooh.
So they can have like 1,000 babies every month or something like that.
Yikes.
30, yeah, 30 times 30. I can't
It would be
remember
like,
the
what,
numbers,
900
but
or something? I don't know.
it's a lot. No,
It's a
it
lot
is.
of babies.
It's like 1,000 babies a month are born there. So when I was having my baby, every room was taken, and it was like, it sounded like like I just moved into campus and I was in my dorm room. People were going up and down. There's parties. There's music. There's like flower arrangements going back and forth, and it was insane.
Chaos.
Yeah, it was chaos. My ex-husband, my husband at the time, there was nowhere for him to sit.
Oh my God.
So he had to sit on the floor. I had a bed, but there were no chairs at Cedars. It was like, so that hospital, it's a good
great,
hospital.
but it can be very, very busy. I mean, obviously.
Very, very
way
busy.
too busy. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh my God.
All right.
Okay.
So listen, storysmashshow.com, you guys. Go over to storysmashshow.com. That's going to show you how to get your tickets, or just go to thehollywoodimprov.com. Get your tickets, you guys. August 28th, 7:30 p.m. I've got Melissa Peterman, Danny Zucker, and Blanca Patch. Come on. You cannot beat that team.
Oh my God,
I
love
know.
Blanca Patch so much. Oh my God.
We laugh our butts off. It's an hour and a half of pure joy. So come on down to the Improv, you guys. Go to storysmashshow.com for the latest information. All right, you guys, she's here right now. You've heard her talking, Debra DiGiovanni. She is a comedian that hails from Canada, like we said. And you have performed at the Montreal Just for Laughs Festival many, many times.
Many, many times. I've been very fortunate.
And they love you.
Oh, they're good to me.
Canada.
They really are. Yeah, they are good to me.
They're amazing. And you've won the Canadian Comedy Award for Best Female Stand-Up many times.
Yes. Yeah.
Over and over. Now, what do you get for that? You get a trophy?
Yeah, pretty. There was years where there was cash, and then it just started being a trophy, and then one year they were like, we're going on hiatus, and then now it's like, I don't even know if they happen anymore. I mean, God bless.
It's so funny though. Well, but that's everywhere.
Yeah,
like my show, Story Smash, like a couple of times I got free iPads from Stitcher Radio, and I'm giving away iPads. Yeah. And then the next show, it's my cookies.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is so classic, like the entertainment industry, isn't it?
It really is.
Stick around. That's why you need to go every week, because sometimes it's iPads and sometimes it's cookies.
That's exactly right. You never know.
Yeah.
And you also have done a lot of fun appearances, like you were on the Comedy Network 2012 version of Match Game.
Oh my God,
You were one of the judges.
Yes, I was like the center square. I was the top level. It was so fun.
So fun.
That was honestly one of the funnest gigs. I did that for 2 seasons in Canada. It was one of the funnest gigs because, and you'll appreciate this, no preparation. You literally were unable to prepare because it was like, it was a game show, so we weren't allowed to know the answers. We weren't allowed to know the questions. It was just like, show up, get your hair and makeup done, and sit down. And it was so fun. That was so fun.
The best. And so if you were trying to banter with another square, you couldn't see them, right? Or how did that work?
I could see the people beside me, but not below me. Like, because that was, like, you'd have to be way too gymnastic to see the people below you.
Yeah. So, but if they made a joke and you could top it or add a tag, you just said it and hope that you weren't
It was
stepping
really
on.
like it was a free-for-all. Like, it really was. And the people that were the producers, I'm sorry, the name escapes me, but it was the same people that like started Match Game. Do you know what I mean? Like, is the woman that was with us? Oh my God, yeah, she was like 90 years old. Was the head producer? She was amazing. She was 90 years old and wore 7-inch heels every day. I mean, she was like this kind of like, who are you? My God,
that's fantastic! Wow,
yeah, amazing.
Did the host have the long mic?
Yeah,
like
no,
Gene
he didn't.
Rayburn had?
I know, we all wanted that so much.
I wonder if that was like his host
retro
choice, or was that a show choice?
Maybe, I don't know, right? Like, I don't know if he kind of signed off on that. Like, no, didn't let anyone else use it. Although, does the new one with Alec Baldwin, does he have the long microphone?
I think he might.
Oh,
I think he
cute.
might.
Yeah.
Don't you get mad sometimes when the same people keep getting all the work?
Yeah, I know.
Like, I just want to scream,
I know.
Conan O'Brien,
spread it around every now and again.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, spread it around every now and again. God
Katie
bless.
Couric,
Oh,
don't you have a daytime talk show
Seriously.
or a nighttime show
I
to
know.
worry about?
I know.
Why are you in
God
podcasting?
bless.
It's so frustrating.
I know.
Alec Baldwin, he
Baldwin.
has to do all the audiobooks.
Yeah.
He has to do all the car commercials. He has to have the best podcast, be the best actor on the sitcom, on the movie theater.
And he's also a host of the whatever and the blah blah. And I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway, not that I'm angry.
No,
now
we're
listen,
fine.
you were on Conan O'Brien, and you've also were on Last Comic Standing,
Yeah.
the fifth season.
The year with Amy Schumer.
Yeah, if you look at who's been on Last Comic Standing, it blows your mind.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
see, because at the
everybody.
time you're just like, whatever. And then you're like, oh, no, I was on with Amy Schumer. Hello. I mean,
Yeah.
please, whatever,
It's so interesting how many people were on that. So that
God,
must
yeah.
have been fun.
Oh, it was
you got
fun.
down to what?
I think,
let's see.
I think I was the third person to go.
Yeah, to go,
Yeah,
as it
to go.
were.
Yeah.
And if you stay on that show longer, do you make more money, as
No.
it were?
No.
It's so,
I mean,
if
you keep getting paid, so technically, yes. And then,
I
you know,
see.
it was only like at the time, I don't know if they did this for every season, but at the time they would do like the top 5 would go on a tour. So then that's, they would make more money on that way. But I don't know if they did that. I don't know if they did that every year. And again, Last Comic Standing was one too that they, they went for so many seasons and they took a hiatus and they came back and they changed it and so they kind of they did many sort of versions of the show.
Yeah, I remember watching it and thinking, if you were a comic on that show, it would behoove you to be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You think these people are going away?
Yeah, no. No way. No.
These are the people you get to spend time with.
We just sequester, but we didn't have to live in a house my season, so that was nice.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
That would be, I think that would
Too
be
much.
so uncomfortable, especially as an adult. You know what I mean?
That's exactly. It's not like you were 21. Do you know what I mean?
If you're like just out of college and you're used to being in a cluster.
No, I think I was like
adult.
34 and I'm like, please no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, please don't do this to me.
No fucking way. And then you had a comedy album called Lady Jazz.
Yes.
And that's really exciting. Why did you call it Lady Jazz?
Do you know, because it was a joke, and the funny thing is too, it was a joke, sort of like the title of a joke that that you'd write down in your set list of like to remind you. But it was a joke that is sort of like a throwaway joke. I mean, I don't even remember the last time I did it. It's sort of like, but it was just, it always made me, just the term Lady Jazz made me laugh. And the guys that were doing my album, they were obsessed with it. They're like, would you please call it Lady Jazz? And I was like, yes, 100% I will. Absolutely. And they just thought I was like, yep, great.
I love it. No, I love it. It reminds me of little Maria Bamford and her Lady Dynamite.
Yes, right? Yeah.
But I like the idea of Lady Jazz because to me, I'm thinking of like that means you've got many, like, I don't know, make many eggs in the basket or something.
Exactly,
Lady Jazz, there's a little this, and then we're going to let the piano take over.
A little chaotic.
That's right. And let's throw it over to the drums. All right, kick it out, or whatever.
Never know how it's going to end.
That's right. And then beep, 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 pop. Next thing you know, you're scatting.
Exactly.
You guys can find Debra DiGiovanni over on Twitter at Debra DiGiovanni. I'm going to spell it. I'm a giver. Debra. So the first thing, your Debra is just Debra. There you go.
Yeah,
that's the difference right there. And then DiGiovanni is Digiovanni.
Yes.
And you can also find Debra over at her website, DebraDiGiovanni.com. All right, you guys, wherever you are, put your hands together for Debra DiGiovanni.
Woo! Okay, so go back with me, everyone. It was the 90s. Oh, a good time. And it was in Toronto. This is when I was still in Toronto. This is pre-comedy. This is before I started doing comedy. I didn't know what I wanted to do at this point. I was answering the phone for a living. I was a receptionist at an advertising agency. And I had just scored this fabulous old apartment. And it was an old Victorian house. And it sat on the edge of a beautiful park in Toronto in a lovely neighborhood close to the subway. But it was fantastic. And it was one of those, it was very coveted because a mutual friend had been living in this apartment for years and years and years. And I remember going over for whatever, a girls' night and being just like, oh God, if you ever want to give away this apartment, please think of me. And then that happened. And she was moving, and she moved downstairs. So it was 3 apartments, ground floor, second floor, third floor. And so she's like, it's available. So I took the 3rd floor. And what it was like, a typical Victorian house. So the 3rd floor, it was, it was a slanted ceiling, right? So it's like a triangular, right? Like I'm lost for words for that.
It's like a Cape Cod. I actually grew up in that.
It's like a church kind of thing.
You can't always stand up in the room.
No, if you're really tall, you're going to be a little in trouble. So it was that, but the apartment was long rather than, wide. Okay. So that was great. And it had the real sort of pull of the apartment is that it had this cute apartment, great, but it had this roof deck. that was like a beer commercial. Like, it was gigantic. It like doubled the size of the apartment. It was so big. So it was just, I mean, it was just an absolute gift, and it was beautiful. You're on the, the third, so you had a beautiful view, and it was surrounded by trees, and it was just lovely. So, spent a lot of time out there. The minute it was, spring to fall, it was an extra room, and I got one of those heaters that you could, put through, and it was fantastic. A lot of barbecues, you know what I mean? I had it fully decked out. It was just really, really, a real extra to the apartment. And so that being, in the third floor, I mean, the apartment was, incredibly cold in the winter, very hot in the summer. Like, an air conditioner it laughed. It was just like, nice try, because it was just so hot. And then it was, again, so I spent a lot of time on the deck. And then I remember this one year, I can't remember what year it was. It might have been 98. And I'd been walking home from a friend who lived not too far away from me. So I'd gotten on the subway, and I'd walking home, and, there was a little convenience store in the corner. It was maybe 10:30 at night, and I'd gone in, I got myself a Diet Coke or something, and I was walking home, and there was a big library on the corner, and they'd been doing construction at the library, right? They were restoring some parts of the library. I was like, okay. So as I was getting there, 10:30 at night, summer, but still 10:30 at night. So it's sufficiently dark. And as I'm about to cross the street, I'm at the corner. I can see my house from where I am, right? And, construction, whatever. And there was a sign that was like, please use the other sidewalk. But someone apparently had moved the sign. So I confidently walked to the other side of the street and fell into a hole, and tore both of my Achilles tendons. And I don't know if anyone's had this kind of injury before, but it's like the kind of thing that the minute it happens, you're like, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. And it's, again, 10:30 at night, I'm alone. I can see my apartment. And then, that hole was deep, but it wasn't too deep. Like if I was standing up, it would come to like chest. Okay. So I was like, okay, I can get myself out of here. Right. I pull myself up and get myself up. But then I realized I cannot stand. There's no way. I've been hobbled. I've literally been hobbled. You know what I mean? Both of yuck. And so then I basically did the army crawl. I did the army crawl to my apartment, because it was like, there was no other way. I had also just moved into this apartment, like truly 3 months earlier. I just moved in. So it's on the third floor, 3 flights of stairs, and of just like, what am I going to do? And it was, so it took me an hour to get home.
Okay, because first of all, there's no cell phone. There's no flip
phone.
There's
1998, exactly. Thank you for saying that, because it's true. There was no cell phones. There was no texting. Right. There was no like whatever. And it was also the kind of neighborhood, like it was a nice neighborhood, but it wasn't the kind of neighborhood that I was going to scream and say, help. It just wasn't going to happen.
So how did you get out of the hole?
This is the thing. So I get out of the hole. I drag myself over, and I'm telling you, just drag, like honestly, the kind that you just like have to stop every 5 minutes. I'm crying because I'm in pain. Finally get to my part, drag myself. I'm not joking. It took me an hour, Christine. I swear to God. So I finally somehow get to the top, and it's like, the third floor. It's like stairs. Like it's going up. So right. It's really, I'm sweating. I'm exhausted. By the time I get there, I get in. Fine. Okay. So, call my work and leave a message and say, oh, I'm in trouble. I've really had an accident. Luckily, I had a wonderful boss who came to get me the next day. I didn't do anything that night. She came to get me the next day, and she was like, literally had, called me at 6 o'clock in the morning and said, I'm coming to get you. We went to the hospital, and then, they did whatever they needed to do to me. But again, with Achilles tendons, they didn't snap. They were just torn. So it was like, I remember the doctors going, this would have been better if you would have literally snapped them, because we could put it back together. But it was the same thing like the ribs, where they were just like, you're just going to have to stay off of them. And I was like, oh my God. So it was like pain pills, and they wrapped me. I was bruised from like ankle to hip. Like it was black and blue. Okay. So it was just, I had this moment. Okay. My God bless. She was her name was Melanie. She was such a wonderful lady. And she, stayed with me at the hospital. And then, when we were leaving and she was taking me home, she had, she was much older than me. And she had the foresight to go, she got me some groceries. She got some whatever. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, you're on the third floor of an old house, and you're just, She's like, I'm just making sure you're going to be okay for a couple of days. And I was like, oh my God. So I just moved in and there was no like going up and it was not going to happen. Like it couldn't happen. Like there was no like just going out to the elevator, nothing. So I was pretty much trapped in the apartment. Okay, fine. So I was there. I was able to take a leave of absence from work. It was very rear window. I was stuck 3 months. 3 months of, a physiotherapist, this is Canada, a physiotherapist would come to me, like it was a nurse that would come to me once a week, and we would do, whatever we needed to do to like kind of make sure that I was going to heal. But I was literally just sitting and propped. Just
what about your family? Were they around?
And no one, my brother was too young at this point. He didn't live in Toronto. Everyone was about 4 hours away.
Oh.
And at this point, my twin sister was on the West Coast. And so there was literally no one. Like, my mom and dad definitely came up one weekend, to make sure everything's okay. But what I started to have to do was, and I had a friend, again, that was a neighbor, thank God for that. But what I had to do was I'd have to drag myself back out to the deck. And we made a pulley system. So I would put a key and lower the key down. My friend would grab the key and let themselves into the apartment. And so that's how that's how I had people, helping me out and whatever. But this is so this is going on. It's the summer. It's beautiful, but I'm basically, I'm lame the entire time. So I don't get to use the roof deck. So this is the first time, right? I don't get to use it. So I was just like, that was going to be the highlight of the whatever. But because I didn't get to use it, I'm surrounded by trees. A family of raccoons took over my roof deck. And when I say a family, I'm talking like 12. Oh my God. Because Toronto's very raccoons, tons of raccoons. And I have a cat at the time. And it was just like, I hadn't even, the key, fine. My friend, I gave her a copy. That was it. So it would be like a couple of weeks before I would go back out. And then one day it was a different person. My friend, she was like, someone else is going to come over. I was like, okay. And I had to go to the roof deck and I just opened the door and it was covered with raccoons. Some of them were like sunning themselves on my picnic table. Like they were like, there was one lying on top of the barbecue. Like they had made themselves at home. Like they looked at me like, did you bring snacks? Like they couldn't believe that I was bothering their wonderful vacation spot. Okay. So then I realized, okay, I can't do this now. I can't go back out. Cause it's like, there's a lot of the bed, raccoon go kill a cat. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And they used to taunt my cat too. They used to hang off the screen and scream and awful. And then so this was weeks. And then my friend would come over and we'd like stand there and she'd stand there. I'd be sitting and I would just like looking, going, what are we gonna do? How do we get rid of them? So then I called the city and I was like, look at
animal control.
Yes, animal control. I was like, what do we do? And they were like, literally nothing. I was like, you don't understand. And also too, I don't know if you know this, but raccoon poo is toxic.
Oh, no.
And what they had started doing, because they saw me, coming out and they didn't like it. They didn't want me to come out. They started right under the door became their toilet. The door literally was a pile of raccoon poo that I couldn't even open the door. It was, they just took over. They didn't care. And then I found out that I did a whole bunch of research. And then I found out raccoons hate the sound of humans. So they said, what you need to do is you need to get a radio and put talk radio and just let the chatter go. They hate it so much. And then it was like, they were like, that'll drive them away. And then when they're gone, get someone to go out and sprinkle a powdered laundry detergent because they hate that as well. And I was just like, oh my God, it was weeks. And then I had to like hire someone to come over and like shovel the poo and rinse it was the summer of raccoons. And
you were laid up.
I was like, it was like I'm saying, it was like Rear Window except with raccoons. Do you know what I mean? I was sitting there watching them. Oh, it was insane.
How did you have a walker or did you?
Yeah, I did. I had one of those ones like the half ones.
They're nice,
like the,
right?
Yeah, I can't think of what it is, but like
and then you can sit down.
Yes, and they've got like a little seat that you can do. But I couldn't do like I was going to do a wheelchair, but it was so high, like getting a wheelchair upstairs would have been absolute insanity. So, but that actually, it did work. So that's how I could go back and forth to the bathroom and whatever. But it was just, Yeah, and I literally would sit there with the door open and just watch these raccoons playing, having fun. They had the best summer of their lives. They had the best, a family reunion. They had a great time. I swear to God.
That is so funny. Did it ever cross your mind to like put chocolate up there or something poisonous?
No, I know that. No, it didn't, but next time it would. Because I swear to God, I was like, what if I got a BB gun? Like, what would happen right now?
Yeah.
But they were just, and they taunted
they're so
us.
bold.
Oh,
I
they're
can't
so
believe
bold.
it.
They're so, like, that was it. Like, I would scream and they would literally just like it was just, I'm sorry, you didn't hear that. It was just a glance. Like, I was just annoying them. Nothing scared them
Did
off.
you see babies?
Oh, God, yeah. Babies. And you know, the thing is, I do like raccoons. They're very, very cute. But, like, I'm pretty sure I saw 2 raccoons, like, fall in love, get together, start a family. Like, they were there the entire summer. They had the whole
It could have been
summer.
like Big Brother, but it
I'm
was
telling
Big
you,
Raccoon.
exactly. Who's going to get voted off?
That is so funny. That is really, really a crazy story. And then after you guys put the laundry detergent down, they did stay away.
They did eventually stay away. And then the the animal control who I talked to and vets and stuff, they're like, now you have to act fast. So they're like, you got to get someone to get rid of the
you got
poo.
a window.
Yeah, exactly. And they said you got to like rinse it off, and then like it was a series of like, you know, constant soap, and then it was just like kept doing, and then you know, but then once I was able to get back out there and like have human out there, they don't come around again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
then they're done.
because it was so deserted, they were like, nobody's here, and that's why they took over.
And the trees were over it, so
Exactly.
there was like foliage.
And they were just, oh my God, yeah. Like, and it was, you could just see them like, wait, you know, and when we got to go back out there, you could see raccoons like coming by and being like, damn it, she's there. You know, they were, yeah. So it was me against the raccoons.
What talk radio did you play to scare
Oh God,
them
I don't even know. I think it was definitely some like dry news, two men talking about the NASDAQ or whatever. You know what I mean? Just like, just kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they hate the sound of our voices. So it's like,
That
you ever have a
is
problem?
so
Chatter.
interesting.
Yeah.
I never heard that in my
I
whole
know.
life. Okay, and then does the Achilles heal? Does it just heal?
It
Or-
does. It does eventually heal, but it did take the full 3 months, though. It did take the full 3, and then I had to go to physiotherapy for a year, and it was a whole thing. And you know, there's still, honestly, I mean, God, that was how many years ago? 23 years ago, 24 years ago, and they're still sensitive though. They're still.
And so when I say Achilles, I said heel automatically. That's
Yes, I
what
know
it
you
is,
did,
right?
yeah.
But it's the back of your heel.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, my Achilles heel is actually my Achilles heel. It's that is exactly what it is.
Do you have to wear special shoes?
Yeah, I have to. I had to do orthotics and stuff now, and it's like it's because they don't, especially because like again, like the doctor had said, like if they had torn, they could have put them back together, but because they just ripped, it was kind of like let's see. So they never really, you know, they heal, but they're never like perfect again. Yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, seriously, that's what people can happen to them, and then the next thing, all they can do is like swim.
Exactly.
Like they can't put any. You can't put the pressure on your feet or your knees or whatever.
It changes things, you know. It changes, and now it's like whenever
things.
you know. Whenever there's an injury, it's always my Achilles. Like whenever they're just a little weaker now. Yeah, they're a little weaker now.
You have no Canadian accent at all.
Oh, good.
Do you think you do, or do people
Sometimes
tell you
I do. You know what? It's one of those things when you're around Canadians.
Yeah.
Yeah, then it comes out.
So like the A comes back, eh?
Yes. Oh gosh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I always think Canada is like, you know, it's just everybody up there seems so much more at peace. Do you think that's true?
You know what? I think it is. I think there is peace because you know what there is in Canada? Space.
Yeah.
That's what I think is one of the secrets of everyone. Like, why is everyone so happy? I'm like, because there's actual space. You have room to breathe in Canada. Like even in our big cities, it's not so populated that you just feel like people are on top of you at all times. And you can get space too. Like that's the thing. You can leave and easily get space.
Yeah. And do you guys have the political strife we do? Like is there that divided of a line?
No. I mean, there definitely is, but not nearly as severe as America. But our big thing is, you know, we've treated, you know, the Indigenous people in Canada so poorly, and that was always sort of one of the things that we pretended didn't happen for a really long time, you know, and all the political leaders would just be like, oh, look over here, you know, it was really ignored probably until about 10 years ago, and now it's really now I know, I mean, you know. it's
hundreds
just,
of years.
Hundreds of years, you know, and it's just, it's really horrible because, you know, people are always like, Canada's so great, and it's like, oh, guys.
And so what are we talking about? Canadian Indians?
Yes, yeah, Indigenous. So it's like, it's Native people of Canada, because it's like, I mean, you know, the first settlers, and there's a very big Indian population in Canada, you know, especially in the middle of the country and north as well, and
The
like
same
the Yukon
sort of
territories.
tribes. The same tribes we have.
Yeah.
So there might be the Utes
Cree and
or-
exactly. Yeah.
Arapaho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one of my boyfriends in high school was Cree, and and it's just, but so and it's really been. Yeah, so we you know, everyone's like, oh, you're good, and we are. You know, there's a lot of really wonderful things about Canada, but politically speaking, we're not great either. Nobody is there a country that is, you know, it's a shame. But what we make up for it in healthcare, and we make up for it in, you know.
Yeah, I mean that everybody's on board with the but it isn't a. Why am I not saying this right? It isn't a socialized country. Is it?
No.
Right.
No. More liberal, definitely more liberal. Like, it would be way more blue. Yes. Yeah, way more blue. Yeah.
And also just more, I've only been to Toronto. Mm-hmm. I think that's actually it. I always thought I'd work in, you know, straight north of us here in, where am I talking
Vancouver,
about?
British Columbia.
Yeah,
so
and I've been
so
dying to go there because
really,
the pictures.
Please go.
I know.
It's so great.
I should just do it because I keep thinking I'm waiting to get to work there. That's what I keep thinking.
Well,
I'll work
there. I think there's a new club just opened. So
maybe I will try to get in there.
Keep your eye on Vancouver, because it is just it's so beautiful.
Did you ever do that train that goes from you know, the one beautiful park to the other place?
No, but you know, my mother and father did.
Yeah, my family did too.
And it was like, it's something like a 13-day trip or something, and it's just
And where are they going to?
I think it's like they go from the Maritimes, which is the East Coast provinces, that's what we call them. So I think it's like New Brunswick all the way to Victoria, which is British Columbia, again, like the islands of British Columbia.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
But I would suggest you, honestly, my thing is, like, I love Toronto. Montreal is wonderful. There's so many beautiful spots in Canada. But British Columbia, for everyone that's on the West Coast, first of all, easy flight, 2-hour flight. Same time zone. I mean,
you fly into Seattle and drive, or you just fly to Vancouver?
Oh, you could. That's exactly it. Drive from Seattle 3 hours.
I bet that's a pretty train too. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I've done the drive, and the drive is phenomenal. Yeah, the drive is phenomenal.
Well, this has been so much fun to talk to you.
Yay!
And I really want to have you judging on Story Smash. I think...
Oh, God, I'll need to judge. Once you get it going again, I'd love to judge.
So I got the first one coming up, and then hopefully we'll be monthly. That's the goal. And I think I'm going to do it virtually as well, because we did about 50 virtually, and I have a lot of fans on the...
I bet it went off great.
Yeah. So I think we're going to kick it back up that way as well on Rush Ticks.
Good deal.
And hopefully we'll get an audience there too, you know. And I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yes!
Debra DiGiovanni, you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, pleasure's mine.
You guys, you got to follow Debra over there on Twitter and let her know you enjoyed her story. Find her at Debra DiGiovanni. And then, of course, you can follow me over there as well at Storyworthy. All right, you guys, one more time on behalf of the very talented Debra DiGiovanni. What a great story. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
My name is Christine Blackburn, saying, make it a story-worthy week.
Thanks for joining us on the Storyworthy podcast. We'll be back next week with all new stories. Subscribe to Storyworthy on iTunes and visit the Storyworthy website at storyworthypodcast.com.
You made it. Checked out of office to check into the sweet views of this place where the kids aren't asking for the Wi-Fi.
Mom, can we go to the pool?
And when you're with Amex, it's not if it's going to happen, but when. American Express. Don't live life without it.
Cedar Point's Frontier Festival is back and brimming with new flavor. From May 26th through June 19th, this Old West-inspired street fest will fill Cedar Point with live bands, nightly hoedowns, and a hubbub of family activities. Yup, you'll find wheelbarrows packed with sunflowers and characters straight out of the frontier, but you'll also discover 25 cherry-inspired dishes and over 65 cocktails, seltzers, and beers. Get all the fixins, plus savings to boot with the Frontier Festival Bundle, which includes admission, parking, and a tasting card. Only at cedarpoint.com.
Hey, Cricket customers, Max with ads is included with your Cricket $60 unlimited plan at no additional cost.
Nice!
Max is the streaming platform where you can watch Scoob, Meg 2 The Trench, The Nightmare on Elm Street collection, and so much more.
Remember me.
Just log in with your Cricket username and password to experience Max on all your favorite devices.
We never seen this before.
Max, the one to watch for a good scream with Cricket. Phone plan streams in standard definition. Programming subject to change. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.